Okay, good morning everybody. Because as we said before, we have our March for Australia against mass immigration on the 19th of October coming up here at the P, in conjunction with Australia-wide marches. Just thought we'd have a little bit of a talk about mass immigration. Now, I myself am a descendant of immigrants that came from Germany and England back in the late 1900s. I have nothing detrimental to say about immigration itself, or I wouldn't be here myself, as is probably the case with most of the population of Australia. So it's not about being immigrants in, it's the mass immigration that's coming into our country that's overloading an already failing infrastructure in our country with education, hospital systems, emergency services, cost of living is through the roof, and affordable housing. There's so many other issues, but some of those are the main ones. Everybody's having problems with it now. It's just a disaster, and they're bringing in more people on top of that without addressing the problem that's already there. This is what we're marching against. This is what we're marching against. We want an inquiry into this mass immigration that the government's doing with an agenda of their own, and they're not listening to the people. They target us and call us, the people marching all across Australia with some neo-Nazi groups in the marches. Well, everybody's got the right to march, but we are not neo-Nazis. We're ordinary, everyday Australians that want an Australia for our children and our grandchildren. A good Australia that copes with the population that it can. So I just wanted to address Trump's speech on at the UN General Assembly recently. It was a huge speech. I'm not going to go through the whole one, but regarding immigration, the mass immigration, Trump addressed the UN and exposed globalist failures, declaring the organisation a threat to peace, borders and truth. I'm sure most of you have listened to the speech, but he labelled cartels as terrorists, rescued thousands of trafficked children, showed the sovereignty, not globalism, is the only way forward. He shut down illegal immigration with zero tolerance, ending border chaos and exposing the UN's complicity in human trafficking. So this is the sort of thing that the whole world is battling with. Europe is in the same boat. But in 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. So it was funded by the UN. Any wonder Trump's, on the warpath? Like him or not, that was what was happening. The UN was supporting people that were illegally coming into the United States, and then we had to get them out, he said. And that's what he's done. So the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering into their country now in America is zero. Zero. And that's all been done by the policies that the Trump administration has brought in. They're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through, and if they do, they're sent back. It's as simple as that. So Australia, on the other hand, encourages massive numbers of immigrants to enter our country. In fact, encourage them to do so, adding more pressure to even already a failing health systems, education training programs, the cost of living, as I said before, and other emergency services, and lack of housing. It's adding pressure to all the problems we have in those areas already. Australia has to change. It has to have policies to protect existing communities in Australia and prevent us all from being overwhelmed by uncontrollable numbers of people that we're struggling with, we're struggling already with the existing population. It's not rocket science. It's just numbers, it's figures, it's facts and figures that are there to be seen, and we're all talking about it. The decision, a total of 185,000 permanent visas will be available in 2025-26. The decision comes in the wake of nationwide anti-immigration protests attended, according to Prime Minister Albanese, by neo-Nazis, as I said before. This is what he's trying to impress upon people, that this is who's doing the march. It's not. They can be there. They've got every right to march. But the most of the march people taking part in the marches are everyday Australians that are worried about their country. In the last Light newspaper, the latest Light newspaper, get your hands on it if you haven't already done so, or go online, you can get it online. So Morgan Begg is the director of the research of the Institute of Public Affairs. And this is what he has to say. Australia is a tolerant and welcoming society for new migrants. However, our migration intake must be planned for. It must enjoy the support of the community, and it must not overstretch critical social infrastructure like housing, schools, roads and hospitals, etc. The federal government is setting Australia up for an economic and humanitarian disaster with their mass immigration policies. Failing to rein in the unsustainable migration intakes actively undermines Australians who are struggling with rapidly rising costs and cost of living and housing, to name a few. And this is what we're up against. This is what we're marching for on Sunday the 19th of October. We are marching against mass immigration that's being brought in on top of an already failing society and within our country, based on the policies of the Labor government. As a matter of fact, Andrew Hastie is a Shadow Minister for Home Affairs with the LNP government, LNP party, resigned today, because his leader, Susan Ley, would not let him have input into the immigration policy, into the shadow immigration policy. Andrew Hastie, I hope he heads in another direction, because he's an amazing MP. He loves Australia and he wants to work for Australia. So let's hope that he goes forward in another direction, because he's now no longer part of the LNP. And I'm proud of him for making that stand, as we all will be on the 19th of October. So that's just what I wanted to say about mass immigration. It's not immigration, it's the mass immigration. So Trump's speech to the UN Assembly was held with a full house. He had everybody, nobody was even commenting, they just sat and listened to his speech. Then our Prime Minister gets up, as everybody was walking out of the meeting, all countries were walking out of the meeting, but he was boldly listened to by a half a dozen people that he took over from Australia with him of his own Labor Party. That's who sat and listened to our Prime Minister's speech in the UN General Assembly. And so that speaks volumes for Australia. We're a laughing stock because of the policies of this present Labor government. And we've had enough. Enough is enough. Thanks, everybody.